Bitcoin hit 50,000 all-time high. It's actually hitting 51,000 as we are recording this. And so, yeah, the question in everyone's mind is, what should you be doing? Should you be selling? Should you be hodling? Should you be getting in? Should you be buying more? In today's video, I want to look a bit at the data, analyze a couple of things, and then give you a bit of my opinion. So, lots of fun with today's video. Hey and welcome to today's video. My name is Julian. On my channel, it's all about making you crypto fit. I discuss the beautiful world of decentralization, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, most of all Bitcoin, and that is actually the topic of today. If you're new to this channel and you're discovering this for the very first time, but you're interested in those topics, trust me, you want to subscribe to the channel. You want to click the bell icon so you don't miss out. I discuss these topics from a very fundamental, simple to understand point of view. Quite rare out there, where a lot of the discussions are on hype and on hopium and not much fundamentals. So if you enjoy this, you want to click the subscribe button. And if you're back, hey, welcome back. Thanks for the support. Click the like button, please. Support me on Twitter. Click the heart, click the reshare, leave a comment. All this supports this on LinkedIn as well. If you're listening to the podcast, same stuff. Subscribe. It definitely helps. But with this, let's dive into the topic and let's discuss what Bitcoin's been doing, what's happening, and then kind of discuss a bit what you should be doing. It all kind of started with this massive question, and that's an excerpt for a small high net worth individual group of investors that I did. The entire presentation was like 100 pages. So I'm just kind of pulling out 11 pages and kind of get down to the gist of it, and I'm putting away a lot of the other stuff. So if you see some German here, that's just the reason why. Don't get disturbed by that. The big question going into the entire week literally was, hey, we're having Chinese New Year. Is this going to cause a dump or will we pump? And a lot of YouTubers, a lot of the crypto media was like, oh yeah, every Chinese New Year, crypto is dumping. And the reason it's dumping is always the same thing. Bitcoin is controlled by the Chinese. The Chinese celebrate Chinese New Year, so it needs some spending. And that obviously people sell Bitcoins and that causes some sell pressure. And so normally that causes some Bitcoin slump in the prices. Well, and then we had Valentine's Day where we had this peak up, so it was really, really nice. But then we had 15th of Feb, and well, we had this dip. And kind of to remind you, this dip here from the 49,000 down, that was like a 5% dip. So it was minuscule, 5%. But guess what happened? Whoom! There were close to $2 billion in liquidations. Just to kind of put this into perspective, right? We're talking about a 5% dip and $2 billion get liquidated. And that just shows how emotional or how highly speculative people invest into this asset. A 5% volatility should not cause a 2 billion liquidation. It should actually almost cause no liquidation because no one should be that highly leveraged without stop loss. So I don't know, just totally insane to me to see that. But at the end, it kind of describes a bit of the entire picture. And then we had 16th of February, we hit the 50,000. That was the all-time high. Just right now, actually, we have been hitting 51,000 here. I mean, that's just an aggregator. Obviously, various exchanges. Bitcoin Choker here says 51,600. So probably I'm just using here the aggregator. And obviously, look at a couple of things here. Bitcoin dominance has been going up, right? It has been going up. So that means that this strength in the entire market specifically came from Bitcoin. So comparing also, and I always love to do that, right? Comparing over the last 24 hours, 7 days, yes, you can still see that a lot of the altcoins actually outperform Bitcoin over the last 7 days, but it's a tough one, right? Especially over the last 24 hours. A lot of the coins are in the reds over the last 24 hours. Pretty much only Bitcoin here is in the greens. Look down, right? Okay, Rep Bitcoin put this away. Monero, the kind of privacy Bitcoin, if you want to call it. But other than that, there's almost no coin here that has been outperforming. DeFi Chain did also quite well. Been really keeping up well. Yeah, my second largest position, right? But look at this, right? Most of the coins are actually down against Bitcoin. And that just shows where the strength here is coming from. And that is really, really, really key in all of this. right? And so obviously the question now is, what's going to happen? What should you be doing? And yeah, let me kind of dive in there and describe a bit on what I believe you should be doing. And rather than tell you what you should be doing, because to be honest, then I could just switch off the video, because what do I know, right? I don't know you. You probably don't really know me. You know me for making videos, but it's really difficult for me to tell. I don't know how much money you have. I don't know how risk tolerant you are. I don't know your entire financial situation. So I can only tell you what I'm doing, right? One thing I'm doing is I'm watching the entire market. And the entire market right now is extremely greedy. So just keep this in mind if you are either positioning yourself on a long perspective in saying and in using leverage. And Charek here says, I think these exchanges that provide 100x leverage is totally insane. And Charek, I completely agree with you. To me, they need a gambling license, not a crypto license. They need a gambling license. But look, I'm not the person who gets asked for this, but I completely 100% agree with you on this. To me, using 2x leverage, 3x maybe, I think that's okay, but 100x, dude, that's pure gambling, right? It's like $1 in, 100 out, or you lose everything. It's pure gambling. So to me, that's just unbelievable. But so anyways, at the moment, you just need to understand the market is gonna have massive swings to whatever is in there because it is so emotional. It is emotional on the one hand because you see a lot of retail coming in, but they're not really driving the price. The people driving the price is the institutions right now, is the corporates. And you can see this very, very clear. So if you're coming in here and you're trying to short the market, I would be super, super, super careful in shorting the market, right? A bit of a hint here, if you know how to use cash flow strategies with Bitcoin, for example, kind of selling future prices, can be very interesting. It's an insane premium in there right now. Annualized, you can get 30, 40%, right? Obviously, I know this really well. Cake, my company, is totally involved in that. We're making shitloads of money on that at the moment because the premium is just so crazy high, right? And it's, yeah, future sign contango, massive, massive profits there. So just look at that if you're interested in the cash flow strategies, right? Key. Be careful in shorting. I'm dead serious. You'll see the liquidations on the up and on the down. It's just unbelievable how small moves constantly wipe out massive amounts of people. Shorting is really tricky. But then also, if you go the other side and you're like, oh yeah, everyone is so bullish. The 100,000 are gonna come next week. Didn't they say this on the television? Aren't people talking about Bitcoin going to 500,000? Really, like, I totally get it. And I'm not sure how accurate the Pantera halving stock to flow projection is. I mean, it's been quite good. If you kind of look here, the 50,000. So we're like almost a month early now, right? I mean, it's 17th of February that I'm recording this. They're talking about the 15th of March that Bitcoin is actually hitting the 53,000. So we're actually like almost 4 weeks early here. Just keep in mind, volatility is on the way up, is totally expected. I made this tweet, right? And obviously it's always interesting when you make such tweets. You always get a lot of hate messages from jealous people, and then obviously you get a lot of kind of supporters on all of that. So I bought my majority of my first Bitcoins. Right? Very important. At an average price of $500, and that's now around 7 years ago. It was actually a time frame at dollar cost averaged in. And keep in mind the following. So my first Bitcoins, the very first was $800. I sold them at $400, but I bought very, very little. It dipped down to 200, went up to 500. That's when I started buying massively. And then it dropped down again, and then it went up again. And so back then, and this is public knowledge, I bought approximately 200 Bitcoins. That was back then. So this has become 100x. Now keep in mind, I sold in 2017, I bought back in 2018, 2019, 2020. So insane, right? Insane amounts of profits. Here is the biggest lesson in all of that. What's really that tricky is the short-term volatility. It's the patience. It's the waiting. It's the, is it now a good time? Rather than, obviously over the last 7 years, man, it's been such a long, easy ride, right? And that's the key thing. It's a time horizon and all of that. So the key thing is, and I don't think I'm the only person understanding this. I mean, look at Michael Saylor. I'm going to actually have a recording with him in a couple of hours. And I'm actually going to be asking him a lot of questions. We have a small investors group, and I asked them to kind of compile a list of questions, mostly high net worth individuals. What would you be asking him? And so I have this question, and we're going to have this live together. And I'm definitely going to ask him, hey, he's raising another round of up to $690 million. And dude, like, there's a reason why he does that, right? And I think the reason is not because he thinks of this on a week by week basis. He thinks of this in a year by probably or decade by decade basis. And I think that's the entire game plan here, right? That was my game plan, and I'm posting this here. I think there could be another 100x in the next 7 years. Now, again, this is not a given, but it's definitely possible. With the money printing that's going on, Bitcoin can hit $5 million. I know it sounds crazy today, but I'm telling you one thing. Anyone that would have told me in 2014 that Bitcoin is going to hit 50,000, I would have called crazy. I'm dead serious. Back then, all I cared about was, is Bitcoin ever going to hit 1,000? Is it ever going to hit a new all-time high? That was the question back then. 1,200, right? Just keep this in mind. So maybe in 5 years, I don't know, Bitcoin is close to 2 or 3 million. What do I know? And then the 5 million don't seem that far. So just keep the perspective here in mind. And again, is like a lot of institutions, long-term players here understand that. Think about that. Right? 5% of corporate CFOs now plan to buy Bitcoin, put it on their balance sheets. ETF, I talked about this on the channel here several times, is more and more likely than ever before. So why am I doing this? Like, why am I showing this? Let me answer the questions as clear as I could be. If I were sitting here and I were thinking about, hey, you know what? Wow, I have so much money in crypto. Maybe I should take something out. If that thought would cross my mind, I would sell a little bit. And maybe I would only sell 2 or 3% of my holdings. Why? Because that's the exact right feeling I would need, right? So should you be selling? Yeah, if you ask this question, you should be, but a small amount. If you sit there and you're like all good, and you're like, wow, you know, it's going to be such an amazing ride over the next 5 to 10 years. You have the right time horizon. You're not pressured by money right now. Hodl. Do exactly what all these people do that have been hodling for the last 10 years, 5 years, 3 years. All the people who bought last year, hodl. If you sit there and you're like, hey, MicroStrategy's buying, Musk has been buying, corporates are going to be buying, and you sit there like, man, I have all this money on the sideline. Should you be buying? Hell yeah. But you should be dollar cost averaging, right? That's the key thing. You should be dollar cost averaging. Don't go all in right now. If you're new to the entire ball game, I made so many videos. I'm actually going to link up one of the descriptions down below that says like 5 steps how to buy Bitcoin. Buy step by step, dollar cost averaging. You will see. You know how many people I know when Bitcoin hit 20,000 and they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to wait until it drops back down to 10K, then I'm going to buy. How's that going? I hear the same thing about 25, 30,000, 40,000. The same is going to be at 50,000. Yeah, sure, there's going to be waves, but the thing is this. If the price dips by 5%, are you going to hit the 5% dip, or are you going to wait for another 5% and then the price corrects? It's a very, very, very easy answer. I made so many videos on this. I have a total explanation on Bitcoin, the simplicity, and to me, if you don't have it in your portfolio, sorry, you are making a complete mistake in all this. So, yeah, just keep this in mind. So, yeah, 29 people live on YouTube. Yeah, most of the people actually on the English version are actually watching on Twitter. So Twitter is the largest, and then LinkedIn is also quite strong. YouTube, I think, is the smallest. Yeah, my German YouTube is quite large. Same story. Everybody asks when to buy. And the best time was yesterday. The second best time is today. So if you missed the best one, pick the second best. This, hey, let's just celebrate. Be super happy. My goodness, 50,000. I would have not thought we're going to hit it that early. It's just unbelievable. Looking at my entire portfolio, it's just insane. Yeah, and it's at the end, and I made that video yesterday. It's all built on, yeah, on obviously a lot of people not being able to benefit from that inflation that's happening right now. So just unbelievable. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all staying super healthy. Smart decisions to everyone. Hey, a lot of meaningful relationships at the end. That's what's gonna make it all fun, and I'm gonna make it pleasurable. So enjoy, and then I'll see you next time. Appreciate it. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye-bye.